Welcome to G&T Sips and Giggles, where Belfast's very own Tina Legs Tantrum and Glenn serve up a delightful blend of drag queen comedy and captivating stories. Join us as we sip on the juiciest tales and share uproarious laughter, offering a glimpse into the fabulous world of drag and beyond. From outrageous anecdotes to hilarious musings, Tina and Glenn promise an unforgettable podcast experience filled with glitz, glamour, and side-splitting giggles. So, grab your favourite cocktail, sit back, and prepare to be entertained as we take you on a journey through the fabulous and funny on G&T Sips and Giggles.
Well, what an introduction, Miss Legs. Yes, each episode we will cover a different topic, everything from events past and present in the life of me, Glenn.
And me, Tina Legs.
But remember, we're purely here for your entertainment.
That's true.
It is
That's
true. It is. So, this is the very first one we've ever done.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the kids what the podcast's about?
Podcast? I thought we were doing OnlyFans.
Oh. See, these elderly people.
I know.
So, a podcast, it's like,
Well, basically, this podcast for me is something really new. I have no idea, only other than the thing is, I love to talk, Glenn, as you well know, and I love a good old conversation.
You really do.
My forte on stage is taking a microphone, and it's my playground.
Yes.
And I love to connect with people. And I think the art of communication is kind of slowly withering away. And I want to make sure that there are people out there, my age, younger and older, who can connect with me when they see me. They don't just hear my voice, but when they see me in a show, they look at me and they think, oh, it's Tina Legs, because I'm standing on a stage wearing a little skimpy number and big clacky high heels and a big high ponytail, massive hoops. But I'm so happy because I'm talking.
I mean, it's interesting you say that. We named it G&T Sips and Giggles,
Yeah.
but like at its heart, I see this really as it's going to be ultimately a conversation between you and I, because
Yeah.
we're friends. We've been friends for a really long time.
We have.
And I know that I've been in your company, and we've been to look at a number of venues and things. And I've been in your company with both outside of the art of drag and in drag at shows that we've done together.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that comes up a lot, which is, when's the podcast coming out? And I know that this is something we spoke about half-heartedly a long time ago.
We did, because the funny thing, because I don't really, I will admit and be honest and say that technology and software intimidates me.
To be fair, I would say you're probably not alone in that, though.
Yeah. I mean, I have no shame in saying I have no idea what I'm doing with this brand new phone or certain apps. And as you well know, I'm always on the phone, and I had you crucified when I got a laptop or I got a computer, and it was Glenn, and it was morning, noon and night, and God bless you, you were always, okay, Tina,
Yeah,
2 minutes, wait. Just
Glenn's tech support.
calm down, calm down. And people were saying, Tina, would you ever do a wee podcast? And I had said it to you in a wishy-washy kind of way, and saying, those ladies over there were saying, Tina, would you ever do a wee podcast? Because maybe you see a lot more about what we're like on stage, because you're part of the audience as well as being the compere, the host, and as I always call you, my wizard. And it's a lovely compliment, I think, when people want to hear more.
Yeah.
But this way, what I didn't understand was that I can talk about apps. We can talk about everything.
Absolutely. Everything and
Absolutely
anything.
everything. And I'm sure there's lots of things that people would be very interested or not about aspects of my life, my do's, my don'ts, my positives, my negatives, all of those kind of things. And that's why I was intrigued when I said to you, what's a podcast?
And my advice was just think of it as talk radio, where you get to talk and talk and talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
We sat down to discuss the format of what this is going to look like. As Tina's already said, like, this is relatively new to me, even though I, as you've proclaimed, I'm a wizard and I know things technology. This is all new to me as well, so I don't really know what I'm doing and what we're going to talk about over the coming weeks. But I do know that we agreed that we'll release them fortnightly.
Yeah.
We'll put out a fortnightly episode, and each episode will cover a different topic or something that that we feel that we might want to say.
Well, I would like to intervene and say this from the get-go. I've always been brutally honest. I just like to look at something, and if it's in front of me and it is white, it's white, and if it's black, it's black. And I will, if I see something and I'll say what I see, that's just the way I am. If something annoys me and it's not right, I will call it out. If I see something in the news and it stays in my head, I will talk about it. And even though if people will disagree with me, that's fine, But oh my goodness, here we go. So I don't like an injustice.
I'm the same.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm completely the same. I look for fairness and equality in everything.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think just always growing up, I'm the middle youngest, if you like, in my family. I have two elder siblings and a younger sibling. And, I don't know, I think it was always when I was growing up, I was never allowed to play with the elder siblings and so on. So I don't know, I guess, I don't know if that's just sort of my personality's developed in such a way that because I felt so hard done by,
Yeah. Can I just say this from the get-go? I have some amazingly funny, unbelievably weird, but true stories about growing up.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear this.
From... and when we get to talk about my family, and I will be, quite open and honest.
Well,
and
can I just say,
yeah,
let's make that a subject. Let's make that a podcast episode. Let's explore that a bit further.
Okay.
And honestly, I cannot wait till we have that conversation.
Are you sure about that? Hold on till I take a sip.
Oh, cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
And if you're listening
honey.
with your gin and tonic in hand.
Yes. Or a little margarita braccaton.
Cheers to you.
Absolutely.
So look, let's bring it back a bit. So
okay,
we've talked about the podcast, what we hope it's going to be, and so on. But like for people who have found the podcast because they've been, death scrolling through iTunes or any of those sort of podcast platforms looking for the next podcast, who have never met you.
Yeah.
Maybe you could sort of tell people a bit about who Tina is. I should say, by the way, Tina is looking fabulous. She is dolled up to the nines.
Thank you so much indeed, honey bun. Tina Likes Tantrum is this fantastic, strong, independent, fierce, fun-loving female who is a hard-working, passionate drag queen. And Tina, I have been on the boards now 30 plus years, and I started drag way back in the day when there was no performers. And I remember one queen, and she was on the door in a nightclub. She was hostessy, Titty Baroness, very, very good friend of mine. I love her. Because Titty and I are kind of sort of from the same cloth. And that was always a thing in the past. I'll touch on this if you don't mind. That people thought that Titty and I should be against one another. We were in different bars, different clubs, and it's Titty and Tina. And Titty and I have always, always polished each other's crowns. We've always had that mutual respect for each other. I absolutely adore that woman. But come back to myself, because it is about me. I started drag, I would say, way before I even stepped out. Loved the whole cross-dressing thing in secret. Always drawn to femininity. When I can't wait to talk about family. When I was little and my mummy had the most beautiful long hair, all the way down to her bum. Now I'm talking, I was 4, 5, and 6. And from that, I was attached, and I still am, to that lady's hip. And Tina kind of evolved. I was late coming into the drag thing because there was no other drags about, but I always wanted to do it.
Where did the name Tina Legs Tantrum actually come from?
I get asked this a lot, so I'm going to be brutally honest when I say this, right? I have only got one sister, and she's deaf. She can't hear or speak, and she's called Christina. And there's 2 Tinas in my life, and the other one is Tina Turner. So I wanted to kind of sort of keep that relation to my sister. She's very independent, she's very strong, and she's also gay. She's a lesbian, and I love her. But I just adored Miss Turner. I adored Miss Turner. But my father, God rest him, my daddy was really, really old fashioned, right? And my daddy hated your nickname. No, when you have a nickname when you're a kid, like we were all called Wolsey. And
I mean, you got Wolsey, which is
my male surname.
Yeah, whereas I got called Mushroom.
Mushroom.
And it was because which is ironic now, but like I had such a massive head of hair.
Wow.
And then my hair was so thick that it grew up and out like a mushroom. Sorry, but anyway, Wolsey, I think you got off like
you do know I'm not letting you off of that. That's going to stick. When do you see the Christmas card Glenn gets this year?
Well, do you know why they call me Mushroom?
Why?
Because I'm a fun guy.
Oh God. Oh God. Da, da, da. I'm so
Play
sorry.
The sad trumpet.
I know. So but my father wouldn't allow anybody to call us by our nicknames. He didn't like it, and I was afraid to say, this is so weird, that number one, I was doing a bit of drag, but I didn't really want my family to know just yet, and I was afraid of my daddy saying, Tina, I hope that's not after your sister, because I'll break your 2 legs. Because he loves that full name, Christina, you know. Mm-hmm. So it mainly came, I'll be honest, from Tina Turner, my sister. The legs came later, and I'll tell you for why. Tantrum came from, I was dressed up, I was about 26, and I wasn't long out on the scene, way back in the old Belfast gay scene, and I dressed up as Tina Turner. We went to the Limelight on a Monday night. I had the wig, I had the denim jacket, I had the wee black dress. And we were all on stage, and everybody was being judged, right, for this fancy dress competition. And I got up on stage, and they went to ask me who I was. And I grabbed the microphone out of the host's hand, and I started singing Tina Turner's Simply the Best. I'm simply the best. Well, the whole place erupted. And they went to take the microphone off me, and I wouldn't give it to them. So we were going backwards and forwards with this microphone in my hand. And my friend John, I won, by the way. I got down off the stage, and he went to me, not even Tina Turner, Tina Tantrum. Did you see what you were doing there? You were literally fighting with him. And I was like, I know, but I wanted to sing that song. Did you hear that crowd? Did you hear that crowd? A couple of years later, I was in a relationship, and as part of my birthday present, we went to Blackpool to see Funny Girls. And the star of that show is Betty Legs Diamond.
Okay.
And I was watching her, the whole show, the cast, everybody. And I had sort of started dabbling in drag, and my partner at that time was so supportive of me. And I loved it because something was happening within our community. Before it became the LGBTQIA that it is today, it was just it was the gay community. And the Parliament had opened up, and I was getting a bit of work here and a bit of work there, and I knew something was missing. So and then they came out and they announced Betty Legs Diamond isn't here tonight. And everybody went, this is so weird. Everybody went, oh, and I went, oh, Tina Legs Tantrum? I'm going to, yes. And my partner at the time was looking at me going, what? She's the star of the show's not here. I don't care, she's not here. I love that. Do you not love that? Of course, me full of gin. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 2 G's in it. And he went to me, what are you going to put 2 G's in it for? Well, here was me. Because I've 2 legs, that's why. I couldn't think of anything more practical to turn around and say, because of 2 legs, all right. So it was Tina Legs Tantrum. And do you know something? From I came back from that trip to Blackpool, boom. Because I had a double barrel name, something magical happened. It was Tina Legs Tantrum. Do you understand? I don't know what it was. I started getting work. I started to get more noticed, and I started to get like compliments, whereas it was a bit of a joke when I started way back then because some people weren't very nice to me on the gay scene, the old gay scene, quite bitchy, quite catty, and, past remarkable. And, but I'm a very, very strong person. Do you know what I mean? You bite me, I'll bite you back. And I just kept going. But when I changed the name, I was taken more seriously.
Do you think though that like from your, because I mean Blackpool is sort of like some of the oldest drag characters going.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean like,
Yeah.
I don't mean by age. I just mean like that there's a history of drag there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And do you think that there was like, you've took inspiration from the queens over there, that where you said it was only a joke here, and if you're going there and you can actually see how they perform?
When I went to that show, and because I was dabbling in drag, and my ex-partner at the time had said to me, right, we're going away this weekend. I was like, where are we going? We're going to Blackpool. We're going to see Funny Girls. They had actually, this is what happened. They had actually done this performance, which made the ITV lunchtime news. And they were, you remember the ladies that used to walk on the planes on the wings?
Yes, windwalkers, I think you
Wing
call
walkers,
them.
yeah, wing walkers. And they interpreted that. And they had a false plane. And they had 10 drag queens on either side of the wings. And this plane went up in the air. And that stuck in my head. And I always used to go on about it. I'd love to go and see that show. So yes, when I went to Blackpool and I seen that show, I thought, this is a theatre. Look at the people here watching this. Why have we not got this back in Belfast? I didn't come home and think, right, I'm going to do this. What it did for me was it made me realize that, it's possible. There's something else that you can do with this. So the whole Tina Legs Tantrum then for me, I felt grounded and I felt kind of cemented with the name. I knew it was that was going to be me for the rest of my drag queen puff.
So we've known each other for over 20 years.
Yep.
And although I know what you've sort of achieved in that time, like for the people that are again only discovering Tina for the first time, what would you say are the key milestones that sort of have stood out in your career?
The key milestones, there's basically two. I remember when I really, really love drag. I just still do. I just still very passionate about it. I'm still very much, I get excited. That I know now in my heart that's never going to leave me. Was the night that I said to my father, I want to be a drag queen. And he just looked at me and he said, don't be a drag queen, be the drag queen. That to me was just better than any competition or any, it just was everything and more, and it was, that night was just, I felt, oh my goodness, I actually had goosebumps. The second one is March of 2001 in the Olympia Theatre in Dublin. I entered the Alternative Miss Ireland contest, and out of 11 contestants I came first. And that night there was a few things that happened, and I'd like to talk about those as this podcast goes on, because there was a chain of events happened to me that very night that changed the course of my life.
And of course, for people that don't know what the Alternative Miss Ireland was, it is in essence, it's a drag contest.
Yeah.
It's I guess it parodies the Miss Ireland contest,
Yeah.
except the difference is that it's drag queens as the contestants, and you have to come out, do a series of rounds,
Yeah.
and you do
Day wear, swimwear, and evening wear.
yeah, and then ultimately the winner is crowned.
Yeah.
And I think from conversation we had before is that you were the only Northern Ireland contestant to have ever won the alternative Miss Ireland before the show was retired. For people who again want to know, why did you want to do a podcast?
I want to do a podcast because I want people to get to know Tina, and I want them to listen to me in a sense where there's so many things you see that I forget about when I'm standing on stage. I get a real buzz from talking. I really do. And I would love this podcast to grow where people can we can invite people to talk to me and you.
Yeah.
You know, and they would ask, I'm sure there's so many questions for someone like me as a drag queen. You know, at 3 years I'm going to be 60, and I've done, there's so much in the background that has got me to where I am today. Like, you know, the healthy eating, the stopping the smoking, the drinking, the partying, and all of that, and keeping a really happy kind of sort of mental balanced life. Because it's very, very important that if you have a passion for something, especially your career, you know, it's for me. I as I've got older, I've actually appreciated the fact as I've got older, you definitely do get wiser. So I just think that, you know, for me, I want people to understand Tina a bit better.
And I think that's fair because I
Is
think
that fair?
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think that's totally fair because it is very one-sided, as you said. It's very easy for you to command a room with a mic.
Yeah.
But people don't, other than sort of grabbing you for a quick selfie, they don't really get to talk to you and I appreciate we're not going to do that with the podcast because it's the same sort of idea. It's very one-sided. People can't really ask you a question, or can they? We'll maybe talk about that later.
Yes, that actually would be quite good. Can you imagine?
Can you? Well, I
Yeah.
might have a surprise for you.
Oh.
Okay, we're going to be right back after these key messages. Be right back.
See you soon. Welcome back. Hi, everybody. It's Miss Tina Legs here. Thank you so much for joining us again. Now, this evening I am joined by the gorgeous Glenn. And Glenn and I have been friends for a very, very long time. But I'm sure you would like to know, who is Glenn?
Well, my name's Glenn. Hi. Yes, as Tina calls me, I'm Tina's wizard. And as I've already mentioned just before the break there, Tina and I have known each other for over 20 years. And we've been friends a very long time. But Tina affectionately refers to me as her wizard primarily because I'm the man behind the hardware, the software, the tutorials on how to do something and so on.
But here's the beauty about our friendship is you cross the T's, you dot the I's, you put the apostrophes in, you put the full stops in, you put it in black and white. I'm very good practically, but when it comes to theory, you mesmerize me. You can read things and you can understand them. I need to
that's
read
kind of you.
something 10 times.
No, I think that's just my nature. I mean, I was
Yeah.
a project manager for a long time, so I had to spend a lot of time sort of making sure, you know, I was dotting my I's and crossing my T's and all that good stuff as well.
Let me ask you this. Now, I want to ask you, how did we meet?
How did we meet? So you were working, my earliest memory of you. I was about 18, 19. I was extremely young. I just came back from Dumfries. So I grew up in Dumfries in Scotland. I am from Northern Ireland originally.
Okay.
But I grew up in Dumfries in Scotland and I came back from Dumfries for a Christmas holiday. Now, my mum and all my family were still across in Scotland at the time. And I come back here and I have never went home.
What?
So yeah, I came over here in 2002 and stayed. I never made it back. But my earliest memory of you was in Cube. So this was, I wasn't around for the Parliament days. I just missed those. And and I remember some of the stories around, you know, how Parliament became Cube and all that good stuff. But you were doing Saturday afternoon karaoke
That's right.
in Cube, and I was out one night in the Kremlin, and I bumped into an old friend I went to school with, and they were like, "Oh, you know, you have to go round to Cube for Tina's karaoke." So we went round, and my earliest memory of you was Bedlam. It was mayhem. Bar was ram-packed, as per usual.
Yeah.
The bar was ram-packed, and you, on many of occasions, so I can't remember if it was the first time that I met you, but on many occasion, you went outside the bar, where there was a police car, was outside the bar, and you just casually, with the microphone still in hand, you jumped into the police car and drove up the street in the
right.
police car while we could still hear everything you were saying on the microphone. And that was the very first and probably my earliest memory of Tina.
Yeah, you should have been there the week that I jumped on the back of the bin lorry.
I was there the time that you rode your moped around the bar. And you come into Bad Out of Hell by Meatloaf.
That's right. So they did, and everybody was jumping for cover and
So
jumping
they
over the
did.
bar. So they were.
Madness.
Yeah.
Absolute madness. Well, what would you say is your earliest memory of me? Can you remember me?
I can. I remember I used to work also on a Tuesday night. I used to do like a mini little bingo thing. And I was up, you know, remember we used to walk in the door to the left and there was like a little pulpit.
Yep.
/ DJ booth. And I remember you coming walking in. And this was when technology was really starting to go whoosh.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably still playing CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And we had only kind of sort of like, you know, hiya, how are you? You know what I mean? And then you come over to me and you had said about doing mixes and things.
Mm-hmm.
And you were out with Princess Sunset.
Yes, Princess Sunset.
Princess Sunset. And you said to me, so if you need any mixes done, and I said, would you be able to make them? And you were like, yeah, I'll do them on my computer. And I was like, right. And that was the first memory. I thought, that's the first time anybody's ever actually really come over and said to me, listen, if you need any help, I'll help you. You know, and do you remember your drag name?
Now, I mean, to be honest, and I should just put a full disclaimer right here, I am not a drag queen, nor have I ever been a drag queen. Apart from that one time, okay, maybe 3 times but you did inspire me. Like you inspired me to want to try to do drag. And I mean, yes, of course I remember my drag name. My drag name back then was Shushu Lafoot.
That's right.
Which in 2024, it is not Shushu Lafoot. It's Shushu Lace because it sounds better.
It does sound much better.
20 years to come up with that.
That's it. And our friendship over the years,
Oh God,
would you say has developed into? I feel our friendship is different, but
for sure.
I believe it has blossomed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of factors there because I think from your point of view, you were a bit of a scene queen when we first met. You were always out. Everybody knew who you were. Like we went out on a Sunday night. We had the Sunday Club. Do you remember? We used to go to the Kremlin every Sunday, and I was like amazed that I was part of that. And I remember you done a lot of stuff for us. Like you hired us a limo one night to go from your house to the Kremlin, which was just bonkers. But like, so I have lots of fond memories of those times. But like, I probably I speak to you almost every day now.
Yeah.
It's either on the phone or we're texting. So like, to go from then, which would probably be seeing you once a week, and that would be the only interaction that I would really have with you. Maybe the odd time if you needed some mixes done or whatever, or something had broken, you know, your skybox had broken down and you didn't know how to turn it off, or
As per usual.
But now, like, yeah, I think I can definitely see that arc in our friendship. I don't know if you feel the same.
I think that the test of a beautiful friendship is space and distance. And to me, that when you don't see someone for obvious reasons, they find someone, they fall in love, and they get married, and they start a new life with that person. They get a new job, they get a new career. They're involved with other completely different, very important things in their lives. And I think as a good quality friend, you know, you have to allow that distance and that space, you know, and then you will always, your good friends, your best friends will always come back.
But I don't think I'm the type of. I mean, certainly not in my 30s. Maybe when I was a bit young and stupid. Like I certainly now I don't place my friends. I don't sort of judge my friendships by how often someone gets in touch. It's like, I have friends that I've not spoken to for a very long time, but not because they're just living their life, as you've said. There's that space, but I don't think, well, sod them.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Maybe I did before, but I certainly don't do that now. And I think, yeah, you're right. Like,
I mean, we've never fallen out.
Nope.
But when you need to put me in my place and I need put in my place, I have to give it to you. You do it very well.
Well, I think that's probably a real strength of our friendship.
Yeah.
Is that, and I think that there's a respect between us where, if, as you said, I'm putting you in your place. They're your words, but I'm doing it as you've said because it's kind of like it's needed. But I'm not doing it out of malice, or it's just in the circumstance that we're in. We just sort of needed to take a step back, and I think that's certainly how I feel about those things. It's I'm not going to hold anything.
No. God, no. I just think it's easier. I think for me, I love to learn. I love to listen. I love to be educated. And I, for one, would look at you and think, when you talk to me about a subject that I have no idea, I listen. One of my downfalls is my frustration. And I want to do it, but I don't know how. And then I try to do it too quickly.
Yeah.
And then I get it all mixed up.
Yeah.
And then I go running crying to you and you go to me, what did I tell you? And then I go, I know, but I was just trying my best. Stop it. Anyway, anecdotes.
God, I have a lot of anecdotes about you.
Go on.
Anecdotes. There's so many to choose from. I think most of mine. I mean, to summarize them all, it's the Sunday Bingo show and just what you guys had created there. It had never been done before in Belfast, and I appreciate it was done elsewhere, and it's been running for a very long time. But like that to us in Belfast was so magical. It was something brand new. It had never been done before, and every week you guys were coming up with outrageous ideas and stupid numbers and just lots of laughs just across the board. I mean, even the after hours stuff at the burger van, like there was so many, like the time we were videoing each other, and like, I mean, there's quite a lot of these videos on YouTube, by the way, on my YouTube channel, but like, I just hope that the kids today have the same fond memories that we sort of got to experience. I don't know. That's kind of just my thoughts.
Back then, you're talking of a good 12, 15 years ago.
God, yeah.
And back then there was a change in the air, and that was the days of the Sunday Bingo show. And
we'll have to talk about that as well, because there's so much there.
Oh, there's so much.
So much to talk about.
And Tioki and things. And that's when I was really settled in my drag, and doing different things and going to different places and blah, blah, blah. But yes, loved getting out. Loved getting a little bit drunk. And maybe going to the odd party. So I did.
Might have been on one or two of them. Okay, so we'll be right back after this.
See ya.
Tina's tips.
In a society that has you counting money, pounds, calories, and steps, be a rebel and count your blessings instead.
Tina's tips. My iconic tonic. So this will be our iconic tonic segment, and this is the part of the show where we'll talk about the iconic things. Every episode we'll change it. It can be somebody, something, maybe something we've seen on the TV, maybe a person that we've always really looked up to, or somebody that's inspired us. But we'll talk about them, give a very brief overview of who they are, and if you want to learn more, maybe you can look them up on the internet. So, Tina, tell me, for the very first podcast of the G&T for Sips and Giggles, who is your iconic tonic?
Judge Judy.
Was not expecting that.
I know that it's kind of not really the same series and they're all repeats or whatever, but she's been on telly now for, I would say, 15 years, and I just love her. And basically, the show is about this judge in America. I think it's in New York, and she holds in a courtroom, and the cases are real, the people are real, and her last ruling is final. And I started watching this like when it first came out, and I have been absolutely obsessed with her because it's real people who go to court, and it's all televised. But the thing I love about Judge Judy is she is an excellent people reader. And she knows when she looks at someone if they're telling the truth or if they're not. And she makes me laugh. Baloney!
She's very good for sound bites, I have to say. She's very good at that.
And I love it when she looks at people and she just knows they've been out for 3 days before they came to court, you know, and they haven't got an eye in their head and they're chewing their bottom lip. And she just looks at them and she goes, "Do you work?" Knowing rightly, they're going to say no. You know what I mean? And I look at that from I watch it sometimes from a very sarcastic drag queen point of view, frame of mind, you know, because some of the characters that come in and I think, oh my God. But she's very fair, she's very firm. And I like that.
I mean, well, you'd like to think with her being a judge and all that, you know, that she's very fair.
Well, she is, you know, and I just think there's times when you think, you know, that people who are prosecuting other people and she's being fair because this person is in the wrong and they shouldn't be prosecuting these people, you know, and I think, oh, wasn't expecting that. You know, you made a mistake. It's not their fault. You brought them to court. They didn't bring you to court. And I think, oh, okay. I just thought if you were taken to court, you were guilty. You know, well, that's what happened to me in the past. But
oh, is there a podcast episode in there too?
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Okay, so you have to keep listening and we'll find out exactly what happened.
What happened? Oh, the night Tina got banged up. And you can actually catch all the reruns. She has a new show out at the minute. And it's called Judge.
It's Judy Justice.
Judy
isn't it?
Justice.
It's on Amazon Prime or something,
That's
or
it.
that UV or yeah. I've seen it.
And if you get an opportunity to search online, especially on YouTube, she's done some sit down chatty kind of 1-to-1s about how she goes about her daily life with her husband, and you know what an inspirational woman. And when she done the first series, and then they came back, it was such a hit. And then she hit the channel for megabucks.
Sure she did.
Oh, she did. And I thought, oh, you little wise woman. And her granddaughter is a lawyer going to become a judge. She's got grandchildren, and they're all invested in law and order and all of this kind of stuff. So, and the reason she said that she wanted extra money was because so she could send them to university and pay for it all, providing they pass.
Good. Well, that's good. That's good.
So, what's yours, Glenn? What is Glenn's iconic tonic?
My iconic tonic this week, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about this. So, did you ever hear about the BBC Three show I Kissed a Boy?
Yes.
So it was where they got a whole bunch of boys together, gay boys together. So they finally done a female version, and it's airing at the moment on BBC Three every Sunday or on iPlayer. You have to watch it. It's so good to see lesbian representation on the BBC in this way. I have learned so much. Like I genuinely thought that I knew enough, but I knew nothing. That's the truth. There's lots of really useful insights into the sort of the lesbian community. I don't want to call them a community because they're part of the LGBTQIA plus. But some of the stories the girls are telling on there, like really, really insightful and eye opening. Mm-hmm. You know, I learned things like, you know, that most lesbians don't like to be called lesbians. They prefer to be called gay or queer. I didn't know this. This is. I mean,
that's a bombshell to me.
It's not a poll of all lesbians everywhere, by the way. But according to the show, that's a thing. Also, did you know that they've got terminology? Do you know why we have like masc, femme, and all those sort of like terminologies with it, with that we used to describe men. So, I mean, this sounds like a no-brainer when I say it out loud, but I didn't realize that they also have that as well. I kind of I knew the term of like, like butch lesbian or lipstick lesbian, but they use the same terms as well, like femme or stud or a stem, which is like a stud femme, sort of like in between.
Oh.
So like I'm learning a whole new lingo there. Anyway, watch it; it's totally worth a watch. Danny Minogue's the host, and she's fabulous as well.
Oh well, if Danny Minogue's on it, I will be tuned in.
Really, really simple, light-hearted entertainment.
It sounds very good. It sounds very interesting, actually. And just while we're on that subject, I think gay women have been the elbow of our community for centuries, and I think they actually get like little next to nothing, because it's basically all about gay men.
Well, I I heard an interesting fact during the week, and it's something again it's never crossed my mind. I've been quite ignorant to the fact that during the AIDS pandemic, which I was very fortunate enough not to live through, I wasn't born around that time. Well, I was, but I was, but anyway, I wasn't a practicing homosexual then. But actually, they were the most supportive and during the AIDS pandemic for gay men, which from what I've understood is the reason as to why they're first in the LGBTQIA. I just assumed because we were all being sort of like, gentlemen and putting ladies first, but actually it turns out it's because not only it turns out that it was because of all of the effort that they made during the AIDS pandemic. And again, I don't know whether there's much truth in that, but I could just be retelling a fact that could be incorrect, but I thought it was very interesting.
That documentary, It's a Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Unbelievable.
Really, really good.
And even though the main character, Jill, who is not gay, and she was the main character's best friend, I just thought, when I watched that, I was like, I was there. I was in that. I left school in 1984. I was 16 years old. And it was all just starting to come around, that whole thing. But that's another show.
Yep,
that's another podcast.
For sure. Okay, we're nearly out of time.
Oh.
I know, but we've got tons more episodes to come.
We do.
So, the final segment is this.
Sip and share.
So this is the part of the show that we call Sip and Share. It's really basic. It's quite simple, in fact. We've put out and we've asked some of our listeners, we've asked them to write in and ask some questions to Tina. So here you go. One person called Espresso on Instagram
Hi, Espresso.
wants to know, what is the most memorable taxi ride that you've ever had? Now remember, we don't want to have this as an explicit on the podcast, so
I used to love the taxi. You'll remember this, from the Kremlin on a Sunday night. And that was it was the taxi that used to take you everywhere to get the drink and all and get everything sorted out. And
see nothing, say nothing.
Say nothing. Exactly, the silent taxi. And we all used to text each other because you didn't want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you went to here and you went to there and you got this and you got that and then you were straight back.
Okay.
There have been other taxi journeys that are a little bit. I keep those for another podcast. I'll keep that for the over 50s.
I mean, by this rate, we're going to have at least 100 episodes.
I think so.
There's too many stories. Okay, next question. Wise Up Woodgie on Instagram wants to know, where'd you get your outfits from?
Quite simple, basic. I love Primark.
Okay.
AliExpress, all online. I am a drag queen bargain hunter, elbow deep online, and I go to the clearance
Bargain bin.
bargain bin. It's never going to be seen again, and all. And I go in and I hunt and I hunt and I hunt and I hunt. Because of my character, Tina she just loves her. She's a big Millie. She really is. You know what I mean? She's that lovely big cheesy sister, auntie, girlfriend, and she's just see when I look in the mirror and I'm happy with what I'm wearing, I'm fine.
Final question.
Oh.
And we've actually already given the answer to this one in the podcast,
All
but
right.
the person's took the time to write in.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you it anyway. This is from Anya MCM30. And Anya asked, how did you decide on your drag name, which you've already explained to us? And she also said you're one of the best drag artists that she's ever seen.
Well, Anya, can I just say you're not wrong?
Okay, look, that's all we've got time for this podcast.
Thank you so much, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do you know what? There's going to be so much more.
Yeah, so don't forget, the next episode will be out in 2 weeks' time, and we're going to release these episodes every Wednesday. So we look forward to catching up with you then.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Stay tuned. Love you all. Bye.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at G&T Pod. Also, thank you to those people that took the time to write in a question. If you would like to write in a question or send us a voice note, you'll find the details in the description of this episode. And of course, if we haven't already asked enough of you, please subscribe and leave a review, but be kind. Much love, G&T.